Okay, this is exercise set 2.3. Again, the odd numbered problems are homework, so I'll do some of the even numbered problems. Notice, excuse me, in 2.3 we're going to get some if-then. So the previous exercise just had the dot, which is conjunction, and, but, and then we had the wedge, which is called disjunction, and which is usually either or. We had the tilde, which is negation for not. Now remember, the tilde is the only operator that's monadic. It applies to single sentences. The other ones are called dyadic. They connect two sentences. Same with the conditional. The conditional is represented with the horseshoe, okay, and it connects two sentences. It's usually symbolized by, or usually in English, the translation is an if-then, okay. And if it's if-then, whatever comes after the if comes before the horseshoe. Whatever comes after the then goes after the horseshoe, okay. The thing that goes before the horseshoe is called the antecedent of the conditional. The thing that goes after the horseshoe is called the consequent of the conditional. Now, number 2 is homework, or can be, but let me just make this point because it's important. In number 2, the sentence says David will win the race if he can run fast enough, all right? Now, the if part here comes second in the English sentence, right? But it doesn't matter because whatever comes after the if is always going to be the thing that comes before the horseshoe, okay? So if he can run fast enough, we'll put that as R, then David will win the race, okay? So even though the if comes later in the English sentence, whatever comes after the if is always going to be the antecedent of the conditional. It means it's always going to go to the left of the horseshoe. All right. Oh no, sorry, that one wasn't homework. Okay, so remember that. Whatever comes after the if is the antecedent. Whatever comes after the then, and notice in this case there's no explicit then, but whatever comes after the second part is the consequent. Okay, number 4. I will vote for the Democratic candidate if you do not vote for the Republican candidate. So again, the if comes later, right? And there's a not here. So if we called R as you vote for Republican candidate, right? So if you do not vote, so if not R, then I will vote for the Democratic candidate. We'll call that D. So again, the if comes second in the English sentence, but it doesn't matter because whatever comes after the if is going to be the antecedent of the conditional. Antecedent again means to the left of the horseshoe. For the horseshoe, if you're using a typewriter, you can use the greater than key. All right, which is on the one of the lower levels of the keyboard. All right, it's on the keyboard, so it's easier than trying to insert the horseshoe because you'll have to use a symbol or whatever. So you can use the greater than wedge or whatever you want to call it for conditional if you're typing on a keyboard. Number 6, only if Melanie studies hard will she pass the course. Okay. Now only if, and you should read the chapter because it explains this pretty well, only if is different from if, okay? And it's different in the following way. Remember I said whatever comes after the if is antecedent. With only if it's the reverse, okay? Whatever comes after the only if is going to be the consequent. So only if Melanie studies hard will she pass the course. So she will pass the course, P, only if she studies hard. And another way to think of it is you can just substitute the horseshoe in for only if. All right? So whatever comes after the if is the antecedent. Whatever comes after only if is going to be the consequent. Okay. Number 8, sorry. Argentina mobilizes only if Chile calls for a meeting of all the Latin American states. So again, like I was saying, with only if, you can just substitute the horseshoe right in directly for only if. Argentina mobilizes, A, only if Chile calls for a meeting of all the Latin American states. Okay. So only if, you can substitute the horseshoe directly, right? A, only if, C. But again, don't forget, only if is different from if. Number 10, if the weather is not nice tomorrow, then we will not go for a picnic. So again, notice there's a not on both the antecedent and the consequent. So W will equal the weather is nice tomorrow. Right? Now that comes after the if, and again we have a just plain old if here, so that's the antecedent. Then, so horseshoe, we will not go for a picnic. So P, we will go for a picnic. Tilde for not. So not W, horseshoe, not P. 12. If it's true that Ronan is a dog person, then he must not be a cat person. So again, we have an if then, plain old if. There's no only there, just plain old if. So whatever comes after the if is the antecedent. We'll call that R for Ronan is a dog person. Conditional, whatever comes after the then is going to be the consequent. So he must be a cat person, C, and tilde for not. So R conditional, not C. 14. 5 times 6 equals 3 times 10, only if. The laws of mathematics make sense. So now we have an only if. So again, remember, for only if you can directly substitute the horseshoe. So we can call this 5 times 6 equals 3 times 10. And what comes after the only if, the laws of mathematics make sense. So if F conditional M. If F, then M. So again, only if can go directly as a horseshoe. This is F, this is M. Okay, Q2 now, notice you have the same sentences. I for I'm a musical genius, J for Justin Bieber is a musical genius, K for DJ Khaled is a musical genius. Showing my age here, I don't know how to pronounce that. Okay, so don't forget to use K. I know sometimes in the exercises students use D by mistake. Alright, so number 2, Justin Bieber is a musical genius only if I am a musical genius. So again, put the horseshoe directly in for only if. J is Justin Bieber is a musical genius. I am a musical genius. Okay. 4, if I am not a musical genius, then neither is DJ Khaled. So again, we have an if, then, plain old if. So this is a not, so if not I, conditional. Then neither is means not K, right? So if I am not a musical genius, then DJ Khaled is not a musical genius. 6, DJ Khaled is not a musical genius only if I am not a musical genius. So again, we'll put the horseshoe directly in for only if. DJ Khaled not, so negation, K, conditional, negation, I. Number 8, if Justin Bieber is a musical genius, then it must be the case that DJ Khaled. So this is plain old if, then, so whatever comes after the if is the antecedent. Whatever comes after the then, is the consequent. Last one, I am not a musical genius if Justin Bieber is one. So again, it's plain old if, so whatever comes after the if is the antecedent. Horseshoe, I am not, so not I. Okay, so definitely keep the, if you say if A, then B, then this is the antecedent, this is the consequent. If you say A, only if B, again, A, B. Okay? So whatever comes after the if is the antecedent. Whatever comes after the only if is the consequent. So keep that separate, if and only if, and remember that the order of the English sentence doesn't matter when it comes to if-then. Whatever comes after the if always goes as the antecedent.